Hi, a very good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to MIS for this marketing group talk, harnessing the power of LinkedIn for business. We've invited Chris Reed. He's over there. He's a global CEO of Black Marketing. Before we begin, can I invite the MIS president, Mr. Roger Wang, to say a few words? Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Ramesh. It's our full-time executive director of MIS. Now, before I begin with tonight's sessions, can I actually get all of your help in terms of our very first segment of tonight? Is it okay, everyone? Everyone okay? Oh, very quiet tonight. Is it okay, everyone? Sure? Do I get sure? Okay, everyone? I need all of your help. I really need all of your help. Okay, I need all of you for this moment. Please stand up. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so please ensure, not now, sir. Wow, this is very enthusiastic. Okay, now we'll begin now, right? Okay, for next 5 minutes, please ensure that not only collecting name cards, you need to know what they do, alright, the organization, what kind of business they are in. Okay, I'm going to invite some of you up on stage. Alright, nothing lesser than 5, okay? Nothing lesser than 5 minutes time. I will be asking you some unique questions like what organization they are from, what do they do, including their marital status, are they single or married, okay? Remember, nothing less than 5 cards.
I've been based in Sydney before. Australia, yeah. So you do a lot of talk like that?
Oh God, okay. That's a fun cards, man. How many do you have? You have 3? Okay, can I invite you on the stage, man? Thank you. Thanks. Anyone else? Don't cheat, I'm going to come after you. I'm going to ask you to call everyone. So anyone less than 3 cards, can any of you on the stage, please? Thank you. Don't worry, Christmas comes early for you today. Sorry? Yeah, you need to bring along the cards that they have collected earlier on. Okay, anyone else less than 5 cards? Joe, I'm surprised.
Wrong name.
Sorry.
Time's up.
Geraldine. I know it's not with J, but
G.
Geraldine. Okay, Geraldine, less than 5 cards. Please up on stage, thank you. Can we have another one more? Anyone else? Less than 5? Okay, anyway, I know Geraldine for quite a while. So embarrassing. For me, okay, can I have a show of hands? Anyone collected more than 5 cards? More than 5 cards. More than 5 name cards. You mean what? All of you just collected 5 cards, that's all. Compliance. Anyone? More than 5 cards? Ma'am, thank you. Thanks. Can we have you up on stage? Ma'am, you too? More than 5 cards? Okay, I'm just going to give out 4 prizes. 4 prizes, is it okay? Okay. Rest of all, we're going to play a game. Nothing of that sort. Remember, bring along the cards that you have collected, huh? Okay, very simple. What I'm going to do is that out of all these cards that you've collected, right, just pick one particular card and tell me about that But this is not the first time that you attend our talks, right? Is it? This is the first time, huh? Can we have a register, please? There's nothing at all.
One in the back,
Okay.
the rest were just my names.
Okay. Anyone, you can just name anyone that you know.
Well, actually, do you count?
No,
Yes, I
not
got
me.
your count.
I'm
I got your
out
card.
of the system.
I got your card.
Okay, anyone else?
Philippine Embassy, there's NGAM, NGAM, which is a very interesting name, but then I found out it's in her name, it's the company name.
Hi, ma'am. From Philippine Embassy.
No.
Sorry.
The Philippine Embassy, Miss Lady Christina.
Oh, hi.
I also met her.
So there's Chris, yeah, so
So,
the role behind
the
it.
row behind. So, who is the
No, I just thought the name was very interesting, so I mistook as a surname, but
Okay.
it's a company name, so it's a very unusual way of being noticed on the name card.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, Geraldine is also our lecturer in MIS. Okay.
Who doesn't carry a name card.
And she's also a very established journalist. Thanks, Geraldine. That will be for you and
Can I give
Rafa.
it back to someone?
You can always give it back to someone else.
Anyone want?
They'll pick it up from you.
I'm very generous, see me afterwards, and
Next will be you, ma'am.
So I met Lydia Yang. She's an awesome travel blogger, and she's here to figure out how to expand her blog and how to increase her partnership base.
But where is she?
Where is she? She's right there. Yeah.
And which organization?
She's currently employed to one of your local top electronics companies. I'm not sure if she wants to. Sony, right?
Oh, sorry.
Is she single? She's not married, so legally she's single. Is she dating? We haven't gotten there yet. Yeah.
So all the single guys, you know what to do. Okay, thanks. What about you?
I'm married. I'm from Jamaica. I've been here since November, and yeah, I love Singapore.
So single too, right? Dean. You know. Thanks, that'll be for you. And for you likewise, man. Okay, next, last but not least. No, cheat or I think you're gonna pull Chris cards out, right? Sure, why not?
Chris doesn't need any introduction from me because we all know him and we all here attend what he has to say today. So yeah, that's my form of cheating because we all know him already. I do follow you on LinkedIn as well for your posts, so really awesome. I have no idea whether he's married or single or available in that sense. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay, and what about you? Where are you from?
As Vich says, I give out money for free because I work for IE Singapore. But let me correct that statement. It does come with a list of criteria. You don't give out money for free. Yeah.
So you're from IE Singapore?
Yes.
And what do you do?
I do market promotion. So we basically do events which would build capabilities or information based on different markets for SMEs. Yeah. So any events which is under the umbrella of IRISV would fall under my divisions group. Yeah.
Thanks for coming, and of course, likewise, thanks for coming. And Chris, I will pass you that MIS notebook later. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Okay, without further ado, now before I were to go on to Chris' segment, please allow me to do my part, okay, as the president of MIS. Now, just a show of hands, how many of you here are our current members? Current members? Wow, okay. Thanks for coming for our members. But for those who are not our member, alright, I would like to welcome you to join us. Reason being because MIS is actually a non-profit organization. Okay? So we exist for the one particular single purpose, and that is for promoting sales and marketing within our arena, against among our professionals. So we are here basically for all of you. Okay, and quite frankly, we don't charge that high for membership. It's only 108. Sorry? 181 for 2 years membership. And on top of that, I think you get more in returns for being our members. If you are to join our members tonight, this evening, we're going to give you more than $500 of vouchers, training vouchers. Okay, at MIS we do conduct our executive training courses. So we have about 250 courses under our belt right now. So if you're to join us as a member, not only you get more in returns in terms of training vouchers, in terms of value, you will be invited for events like that. Okay, and of course we do have our e-marketer and our marketing magazines that you'll be receiving on a quarterly basis. Okay, so please pick up a phone, join us today, and for today in particular, we're also giving extra $70 training voucher.
Thank you very much. Everybody hear me? It's on? Yes, it is on. Okay, we're going to make this as interactive as possible. So make sure you do some of these things, make sure you learn a lot, make sure you can actually use some of the tips we're going to learn today, make sure it's very interactive, and make sure you do get a lot out of it, and you can change your LinkedIn profile as a result of it. So please feel free to shout out along the way. Don't wait to the end. Do it as we do, talk, because it will help other people who may be thinking the same thing as you. And just shout out, a very interactive audience, very nicely warmed up by Roger. Thank you, Roger. So, what is LinkedIn? Start from the basics. LinkedIn is a peer-to-peer network in a business context. That's really, really important to understand. It's a business. It's not Facebook. It's not Twitter. It's not Instagram. In Sydney for ANZ, in Hong Kong and Shanghai, in London for the UK, and in Toronto and New York for North America. And we're growing and growing and growing and growing. In fact, we're recruiting at the moment, so if you do want to apply for a job for our black marketing company, we'd be very happy to talk to you. So there are basically 4 steps to success on LinkedIn. Personal branding, company branding, content marketing, and new business. We're going to cover the 4 steps through these top 10 tips. LinkedIn is also a gamification platform. Now what I mean by that... So let's start with rule number 1. Tip number 1 is your photograph. Not rocket science, but and I can tell from the smiles in the room already, some of you have really, really terrible photographs or have no photographs. I may have even picked out some of your photographs here today. You never know. So you're going to have a photograph. It's got to be interesting. It's got to have a white background or a blue background. It's got to stand out. I had a client in Australia, and their corporate communications team decided that everybody should have a black background. The trouble was, with the black background, lots of the guys down there had black hair. And then they all came in black suits. So they basically looked like anonymous. It just didn't work at all. So do not have a black background unless you happen to be very white or blonde and you're wearing a white shirt. This is even better because by the time you actually get down to the app, your picture is that big. And that's worth remembering. Oh yeah, it might be very clever to have lots of different things within your photograph, but no one's going to see it. And more importantly, no one's going to see you. And LinkedIn's a relationship building marketing engine in a business context. It's about building relationships just like you would do a networking event like this. So think about the photograph very, very succinctly. So this is a very good photograph. You can see his eyes, you can see his smile. You warm to him immediately. Just like you would do in a networking place. Someone smiles at you, someone looks at you, you warm to them, you trust them, you're building a relationship. This guy got a bit carried away. I'm pretty sure that is not Maxwell Gadsden. And I'm pretty sure that George Clooney is not in the aviation business. So be authentic, be sincere in the photographs you obviously have. Make sure it's you. So what you shouldn't do is something like this. Because what are you trying to prove by that? Okay, yeah, she's great at yoga, but it doesn't really help anything in terms of understanding her personal brand or what she actually does. She's not even a yoga teacher. This person here, really? The duck? So the duck is taking priority here because by the time you look at the app, the duck is really the only thing you care about. You can't see this poor girl here at all. And she really wanted to show off all the red roses she got and all the diamonds she had. Fantastic. And she even kept the little things on here from the Internet Explorer just for effect. I have no idea what was going through her mind, but she needs to move that on and become a professional footballer. Professional photographer, rather than she's a recruiter for SAP. which doesn't say a lot from SAP. If she was in the wedding business, this may be appropriate. Or the flower business, but she's not. She's a recruiter at SAP. Would you want to work for SAP? So he picks a trip at night time at Sydney. Looks fantastic. I tend to like using kind of Erin here is very much the sunlight, so she's inspired by this. She wants people to visit her page to also be inspired, to think slightly kind of positive thoughts. I like using pictures of where I happen to be at that time, so obviously in Singapore, or if I'm in Hong Kong, I'll use a lovely picture of Hong Kong, or if I'm in Sydney, I use a nice picture of Sydney. So you're paying respect to the city you're in, you're also letting your connections know that that's where you happen to be. So what you shouldn't do, something like this. Because you can see the difference between something very visually orientated and something that has no visual at all, no picture. But even worse, if you actually have the ability to have a premium account and you have a blue background and you don't even use the pictures that LinkedIn give you. Because if you have a premium account, LinkedIn will give you about 20 pictures to use. You don't even have to use your own. So you can see how bad that looks comparative to something that illustrates your personal brand, which is what LinkedIn is all about. So it brings colour and it brings life to your LinkedIn profile. And it really does tell 1,000 words in terms of visual impact. So the next thing, probably the most important thing, if you do nothing else as a result of this presentation, do this one thing. Your headline is the most important thing on LinkedIn. So it follows you absolutely everywhere you go. It affects your SEO, and that is the search engine optimization on LinkedIn. And it affects how you're found, and it affects your perception, your brand perception. So think about using this. You want to put some social, you want to put basically some keywords in there. So LinkedIn, CMO, investor, entrepreneur, speaker. Or Callum here has got owner, investor, director, speaker, writer. You know what he's all about. You know what Callum's all about here. So you don't need to go delving into his profile. You know this is the kind of guy he is. You know, Kieran here, CCO, author, professional speaker, creative director. You know exactly in those few words what Kieran is all about. This guy got a bit carried away. Axel Henriksen, the wizard of wealth. And he's gone shop direct and save, helping businesses, customer attention using free to job bid. But it works because you know exactly what he's doing. If you haven't got an ICT, apparently this means something. It means absolutely nothing to me, because I'm not in ICT. But if you happen to be in that industry and you want to impress people in that industry, then this one hasn't seen it, and has seen Taken 1 or Taken 2, it's basically all the same. So don't bother watching Taken 3. LinkedIn and Fox thought it would be a great idea to create a profile of Ryan Mills, obviously Liam Neeson, because it's all about his skills. Obviously LinkedIn's about skills and experience. So if you have his hands-on experience of negotiation and extraction and various other fantastic things, they use double plays. And he actually had a competition whereby if you connected with him, he would do a recommendation for you on YouTube. So you find it's absolutely hilarious. One guy won, and he went through his entire profile and recommended him. And it's really, really, really funny if you actually listen to it. Have a look on YouTube for that. So what you shouldn't do, something like this. Music Mogul Emissary. What does that mean? Who knows? Retail Jedi. Digital Overlord. Oh my God, Digital Overlord. Executive Demigod of Miracle Health. I'm sorry, if you're in Miracle Health, do you put a picture up like that? Unless that is the before for the after. So really, would you like anything in Miracle Health if you can say a guy like that? I certainly would not. This guy here has literally spent his entire career in education. Now I know the Monash Institute of Singapore, but really having every single thing you can possibly imagine here, he can't have any room for his experience. He's been in school all his life. This on LinkedIn. So if you look in groups, for example, you'll see your headline pops up here, and you'll see, if it's default, how it looks. You have no idea what this guy does. You know what this guy does, this guy does, you don't know what this guy does, or this guy does. It appears in... If you don't fill it out, managing talent, you have no idea what this person actually does. Even worse, we have something like this. A lifelong passion for problem solving describes every single person in this room. Because we solve problems on a daily basis, all of us. So how does this distinguish, how does this differentiate this person from a personal point of view and everybody else on LinkedIn? It doesn't. Now this guy here, he's a very positive person and enjoys giving humanitarian service. He works for the military and he looks like a spook. So obviously you have to be quite careful about what you look like and what you actually say in your summary. Because I wouldn't trust this guy with humanitarian anything. You also shouldn't do this. This is the experience section, which is down here. It's not for the summary section, which is up here. So you don't get the two bits. It's kind of pointless putting your CV there. So don't put your CV there. So it tells your personal brand story. It enables you to gain higher SEO as well. So everything you do here will get you more views and higher up the rankings on LinkedIn. So if you put into LinkedIn, 49,000 people come up. I come up number 1, even though I don't actually work for LinkedIn, which annoys the next 48,000 people because they do work for LinkedIn. And they go, how on earth did this bloke who doesn't work for LinkedIn get a top? So I just use your search engine the way that you should be using, but you're not. Because people who work on LinkedIn don't actually write a lot about LinkedIn, ironically. It also works on like event speaker. So if I put event speaker into LinkedIn, 5,000 people come up, 4,000 people come up, and I come up number 1. Because I'm using it in my headline, using it in my summary section, I'm using it in my experience. So I'm using their search engine, just the way you'd use Google. I do get beaten by Patrick though, for entrepreneur, so obviously he's a better entrepreneur than myself. So the next thing you've got to do is add your experience in. I don't mean about your current job, not the previous job you had that you left 6 months ago. Because there's nothing worse than writing to the CMO of Microsoft. And the CMO writes back and says, yes, I will meet you, Chris. You go, fantastic, I'm meeting with the CMO of Microsoft. You meet him. And he goes, oh, I left that 6 months ago. I know I haven't updated my LinkedIn. I now work for an NGO. I'm not going to get any money out of you, am I? So think about how you communicate, who you actually are, and your experience on LinkedIn. Write about what you've done there, for example. Write about your achievements there. Write about the company. Talk about what you actually do there so people really get to know. You can make it as long or as short as you want. So you're up to 2,000 or 3,000 characters. But it's really, really good to actually talk about exactly what you do there, to communicate what you do, so that everyone viewing your profile gets a really, really good idea about what you do. So you shouldn't do something like this. I have no idea what sterility insurance actually is, but it sounds painful. Enables people to see what you do. It also improves your SEO. Next thing you need to do is add visual context. So all these functions here are all free. So none of these functions are premium. There's only one premium service, and that's number 10. So these ones are all free. You can all add visual content. This is this visual content here. This is the only way of driving people to your website on your personal profile. Because if you put in a URL on your profile, you can't click on it. Because LinkedIn don't want you to click on it. This person here commented on a recent post, for example, on New Year's resolution. So you're thanking someone for liking the post, and you're actually causing a common ground. This person here, for example, I met at the AmCham. So you say you met the AmCham, you're causing a reference point, you're going to say yes. If you personalize it, you get 95% acceptance rate. 95%. If you don't personalize it, you get about 20 to 25% acceptance rate. Because people are getting more and more choosy. So when you see this, it's like coming up to somebody today and going, here I am. It's like, well, who are you, and why should I connect with you, and why are you interesting, and why, cause a relationship. You don't start a relationship by saying, I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. Where's the reference point? What are you talking about? Why should someone connect with you? And if you happen to get any connection request from any of the Gaddafis, be very, very wary that Gaddafis love LinkedIn for some reason. I have no idea why. You would have thought that they'd be banned in Libya. But apparently she got a bit confused as well, because she thinks she works for the government. I think she's still self-employed. And I'm pretty sure a few years ago, her dad was boosted out of Libya government, so there's all sorts of problems happening now. But yes, don't accept any kind of invitations from her. Or dodgy people from various parts of Africa, especially if they want to give you millions of dollars. And especially if they say they're God-fearing and they believe in investment banking. That's the god of investment banking, otherwise known as Marina Bay Financial Centre. So it improves your acceptance rate by 300% if you actually do this, personalise it. And it shows interest and personalises invitations. Next thing you do is post to your blog. So how many people here write a blog? Don't tell me no, you do, yes. Like one person, only one person? My God, nobody else writes a blog? Seriously? Okay, so your homework is, you have to write a blog. It's not a Singaporean thing. I did this presentation at the NTUC last week, and not a single person in the whole room wrote a blog. So they all had to go away and write blogs, and 50 of them did the next day. Very impressive. But you should write a blog, and I mean a business blog. I don't mean a blog about, the hawker centre, the food down there, or you're shopping, or Vivo City. I mean a business blog. Something you can actually share with people in the business context. Because your blog appears here. It's the first things that people will see on your profile are your blogs. More importantly, they stay there. Now what I mean by that is that all social media is dynamic. So if you share something, it goes because other people are sharing on top of you. But your blogs will stay here, which is where it's really, really important to think about what you're going to write. It can be about your business, it can be about something you care passionately about, it can be something that is interesting. So I wrote a blog recently saying that selfie sticks should be banned, for example, in Singapore, which got completely diverse reactions. People my age said yes, people younger than me said, you're mad. But at least you're causing some kind of disagreement or some kind of engagement. And it's a business context, I was putting the case business-wise. But think about what you want to put there, because people can then see all your blogs, and they can then go to the other parts of your blogs and then read that. I still get people liking and sharing people on my blogs I wrote a year and a half ago, because they can find it. They can't find any content I shared more than 2 days ago. So if you think about the way that social media works, this is the only way your content actually remains here. And it's also very keen in terms of presenting yourself as a thought leader, and also positioning your company, so using content marketing to market your company. Write about problems that your customers, your clients have, and then write about solutions that you potentially offer, and you will generate sales. It's classic content marketing. It's called kind of social selling. It's bringing people in without actually selling to them. It's using your personal brand, it's using your company brand, it's using content to actually say, this is what we do, do you want to buy it from me? And you build up a portfolio of your blogs, so people get a really kind of good feel about the visuals and the way you position yourself, and the aunties, the uncles, and the kids. Basically, that's about everyone on LinkedIn. So do think about kind of the power of LinkedIn. You kind of get this kind of engagement. You can really make something go viral. If you post on your website, your company's website, basically nobody is going to read your blog. It's one of the kind of myths. The people think, I'll put my blog on my website, it'll be the 7th tab down on the 6th part there, after About Us, Services, Case Studies and Clients. Basically no one's going there. Because people spend about a minute and a half on your website, your company website. Whereas they want to find out content from LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is the largest publishing platform in the world. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because there's 364 million people on there, and a lot of them are publishing. People like myself publish 2 or 3 times a week, for example, on LinkedIn. So it's very competitive in terms of how you do it, but it's because the potential is enormous. You can influence a lot of people in your connections. And all your connections will then find out about your post. And not only that, LinkedIn then email all your connections with the best of the posts, and if you're good, your content will be there. If you're very good, you'll be on the Pulse, which is basically the LinkedIn content engine. That can go make your blog go viral. So why would you want to put it on a website where nobody's being notified about your blog, where you can put it on LinkedIn, where LinkedIn do the marketing for you? And there are 364 million people there who want to read your blog. They want to find information out. They want engagement. So, your question?
Is there rules, or is there an easy way to syndicate between your own website and LinkedIn's blog post? So if you put it up on yours, it automatically transfers onto LinkedIn or vice versa. Are there rules against doing that?
You can just basically post both. The best thing to do is what we advise our clients to do. If clients insist on putting a blog on their website, and their Google Analytics will show that no one's reading it, is to repost that to LinkedIn, and they'll suddenly get thousands of views on LinkedIn, and they'll get maybe 10 views, which means their employees, their sister, their mum, their wife, actually look on their website, and they'll suddenly see that they've all their attention to LinkedIn. So the best thing to do is copy and paste it both. I mean, we don't even bother on Black Marketing, we don't even bother putting it on a website, we just drive everyone to our LinkedIn pages to engage. And that's the way that it's very much going. Because there's no way of actually, now that RSS isn't really used, there's no way of actually notifying people on your website that you've actually got a blog up. So you shouldn't do this. Use the post in an abusive way, whereby you're doing 2 lines or 1 line. It doesn't work. And this doesn't work either. This guy has put in the link of his post. Not only that, the headline of his post is 13 ways to damage relationships. Number 1 is writing a post that looks like this. Because that does not help you believe this guy can do anything at all, and it damages your relationships. Because what's he trying to achieve? Well, it's no particular surprise that he's had 5 views. And one of them was me. So content market your services. Use an engaging content. So number 8, Share engaging content. How many people here engage by sharing content on LinkedIn? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, more than that. 4, yes, probably more, okay. So share engaging content on a regular basis and put it in groups as well. So there's a whole group strategy here. Join groups, and you will join the right kind of groups. I'm not talking about Roger's fan club group, because Roger's fan club group only has 2 members, and one of them isn't even Roger. And you get no engagement at all. Think about the groups you want to join. They've got to have thousands of members in. They've got to be in your industry. They've got to be where you're targeting your industry. So if you're in HR, you want to be targeting people in that community that you want to pick up. If you're in clients, and you're in marketing, for example, you want to go where your CMOs are going. If you're in oil and gas, the same way, oil and gas. If you're a lawyer, you want to go where the lawyers are, depending on what you want to actually do and what you want to achieve. Think about the groups you're targeting and use the content. At least half the groups I'm in at any one stage, which works fantastically well because I get about 15% of my views from groups. So groups really do work. This is what it looks like if you're a top contributor. And the bigger the group, the better. So this one's got 720,000 members, yeah. What's the length? Well, you're sharing the link, so it doesn't really matter what the length is. But if you share like a video content, no, this is curated content, rather than created content. So there's created content, which is your blogs, and then there's curated content, which is basically stuff you get off the web, which could be Straits Times, the Business Times, the Financial Times, the Guardian, the whatever it happens to be, and you're sharing that with your connections because you think they'd be interested. So think about the content strategy you have. Because everyone has a content strategy. If you start sharing something, you have a content strategy, whether you like it or not. If you're not sharing, you still have a content strategy. It just happens to be not very good one. So number 9, yes?
So before you post content, do you sort of experiment or trial on the target audience that you want to communicate with? Because sometimes things we post may not be effective.
Yeah, you'll soon learn what works and what doesn't work. There's lots of analytics on LinkedIn that tells you. Now they do analytics on your posts as well. So you can post something and look at every single fact and figure from which country they're from, which position they're in, which companies they're from, you know, even kind of like down to the nitty gritty of all their facts and figures of LinkedIn. LinkedIn will now tell you. And even on the company page as well, they will also give you analytics of every single post that you had and exactly who these people are, you know, how engaging they was, how many views you got, how many click-throughs you got, how many shares you got. So you can pretty quickly figure out whether your content is engaging on your company page and whether you're Google. And it's free. Again, it's through organic search. So if you're not having a company page, 1, it means people can't find you on LinkedIn, so you lose credibility. And 2, people can't find you on Google, which is even more important because then somebody's competitor can be in place of you on LinkedIn, on Google itself. So you think about you're losing competitive advantage merely by not having a company page. So if you work for a company, does anyone work for a company that doesn't have a company page on LinkedIn? Nobody? Okay. Maybe you don't want to say. But there's lots of pages, believe me, there's lots of pages, there's a few examples coming up. There's lots of pages in Singapore that companies do not have company pages. So they're missing a trick by not having a company page. L'Oreal have a particularly fantastic page. It's basically voted one of the top 10 pages on LinkedIn. You may think, L'Oreal, that's a bit random, but actually they get it. They share content about startups and hairstyling, being an entrepreneur, talent, female leadership. They've got to understand the fact that this is not Facebook, it's LinkedIn, it's content in a business context to do with the things they sell. But they're not trying to sell you L'Oreal products. They've understood the fact to engage, you have to actually talk to people in an engaging way because it's LinkedIn. So you're not going to sell hair products, you are going to sell advice, you are going to kind of inspire people to be entrepreneurs, you are going to inspire people. And there's millions of kind of like entrepreneurs in Singapore who have nail salons and hair salons, they're all entrepreneurs. They're all targeted by LinkedIn and by L'Oreal. Yeah, Tourism Australia do a particularly good job in terms of engaging content because they want businesses to come to Australia. Also, who spends the most amount on travel? Business people. Whether it's leisure or whether it's actually business travel. So Tourism Australia really get it and understand the fact that you actually have to use LinkedIn to do this. And also when you have things like MICE, you have events, use the company page, which is Tourism Australia, to actually market Australia as a destination for venues and for events. ANZ do a particularly good job. They're one of the best banks in the world when it comes. So they had a rash of the whole thing. That's how not to do it. Why would you want to do it? You know, I know there's a talent squeeze here. Yes?
Can I correct you there? It's one of the favorites that all new graduates apply to.
I don't believe it.
And I'm not
They would
with
not
STB.
fill that many jobs.
I'm not with STB, but it's
I don't believe it. Because look how many jobs they've got on their page. And that's consistent. You can go now and look at hundreds and hundreds of jobs on the Singapore Tourism Board. They're not doing a good job in terms of engaging. They're not marketing. Marketing people are not involved in this page. This is how not to do a page. So you need to say why it's great to work for Singapore Tourism Board.
But then why do fresh graduates want to join if they are not good?
I don't believe they do. I mean, you may have different facts and figures to me, but the evidence would suggest not. But maybe it is a fantastic place. Maybe it's an easy place to live. Maybe it's an easy place to work. I mean, obviously they can't fill the positions they've got. So if you've got a job there, you've actually got a job for life. I mean, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like DBS, you get 1% off your mortgage.
I'll take it offline afterwards, because it's a good stepping stone.
Yes.
So for small businesses,
Yeah.
the personal profile and then the business profile, that's completely separate from the
Yes, so the company page is completely separate, and it's completely free way of actually doing it. Literally really, really easy. Just go to the company page, it says create a company, you put the company page in, you put an image in, you put the description in, and you've got a company page. So it takes like a minute to set up, so it's really, really easy, but it means that LinkedIn can then find you, because it's on your personal profile, and you put it into the search. Years ago, now it's a sales and marketing platform, now it's a content platform. They've introduced, we'll come on to the final one, is a sales navigator platform, which is a sales and marketing professional. So they realised, when I came to Asia, that's why I started using it for sales and marketing. Because you can reach out and use the data on LinkedIn for sales and marketing, just like you can use it for headhunting or for talent. But it's changed, and more pages are now becoming very engaging. Hayes today, for example, the Hayes recruitment agency, passed 1 million followers on their company page. But they don't have lots of jobs on, they have engaging content. So it makes it an engaging page to actually follow. They've actually applied the laws of content marketing to their company page, and as a result of that, being rewarded. If you're B2B, then LinkedIn kind of wins hand down. It's kind of pointless having Facebook. So all you're going to get on Facebook is ex-employees following you, interns, students, nobody serious. If you want to influence CMOs, CIOs, CTOs and CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, investors, shareholders, you need to be on LinkedIn. It's like the difference between choosing the newspaper and Business Times. If you're in business, why would you choose the newspaper? It's trashy and full of rubbish. Whereas the Business Times, at least, is a serious newspaper that has lots of content about business. So it's all about context. And I compare Facebook to, in a business context, to someone actually, if you approach someone on Facebook to try and sell them something, it's like approaching Roger here with his family or his mistresses at the weekend. On a Saturday afternoon, for example, in a restaurant, he's having a few drinks of wine, he's relaxed, he's very cool, and someone comes over to him and goes, "Do you want to buy this?" Completely out of context. That's what Facebook's like. Whereas LinkedIn is like this. It's a business networking opportunity where you can connect in a business environment. It's the business context. Facebook is not business context. So they're incomparable in terms of that. If you're Facebook, if you're B2C, Facebook's fantastic. But if you're B2B, you should not be on Facebook. It's not going to work for you, not in a serious kind of way. You also just use the data in the same way that you can use the data on LinkedIn to target people. Yes, I can't imagine what our agency actually hire. What is it called? It might be called Black Market. But yes, I'll give you a tenner later. If you don't do it internally, then yes, you should do. Whether it's us or whether it's something else, there's lots of other agencies out there who do social marketing and content marketing. We happen to just specialise on LinkedIn. There's other agencies who do Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WeChat, Weibo, and LinkedIn. But you need to do it, or you do it internally. But you don't do it internally with just HR, like this. You do it internally with marketing, HR, and corporate comms, all coming together to achieve the results. Because by working together, that's how you achieve the goals of the company, not just one side of the company. This is like handing over your website to human resources. Why would you hand over your website to human resources? Be unthinkable. Sales aren't actually very good at marketing this. So you need people like me to come on and say, you can use it for sales and marketing. Because I like to say, I use this all the time. I generate clients on LinkedIn for Black Marketing, my previous companies as well. It works in terms of reaching the right person. But you need to have the right data, and once you have the right data, you need to have the right in-mail. And the in-mail is the one you send out to somebody who actually then responds. And the in-mail needs to be short, focused. It needs to have a very catchy headline. So this one here, talk about opportunities in Dubai, interesting. He references someone I know. He then says he's got an impressive profile, which always works. He then obviously references how we can work together. Very simple, very straightforward, not rocket science. I can look on the app, and I think that's nice. You know, I think it's very simple, very straightforward. I like his approach, very easy. So we end up doing business together as a result of this. So 150 words is the maximum amount of words you should use on LinkedIn. 150 words. The shorter, the better. If you look at ours one here, for example, we use 3 lines, literally. 1, 2, 3. 2 lines to say what we do, 1 line for call to action, to have a Skype or have a meeting. You know, that's all you need. If you can't describe your company in 1 line or 2 lines, then think again. Redo it again, because you can. Every single company in the world can be described in 2 lines. This person here reached out and actually used the fact that we're both NTU alumni. So using a reference point, do some research on your targets, and say to them, we have this in common, we share this in common, we share this person in common. You know, so use that as a reference point. This person got a response from Google as a result of it. So it works. And it works on a regular basis. So what you shouldn't do is this. Hi. Don't use hi. Hi does not describe your company or what you actually do. Also, hello, no name, how are you? Irrelevant. Would you like to take our IT consulting services? Because there aren't any millions and millions of other IT consultancy services in the world. Where's the differentiation? Why would I bother going to him? Especially with a name like Waltron Technology. It's like a mixture of the Waltons and Trump Towers. Not as bad as this. We want to invest in your company and in your country. I don't own a country. Pointless. Dear sir. Back to the Gaddafis. Need your urgent response. Need your urgent response. Doesn't make any sense. But apparently, one of the Gaddafis approached him, gave him $25 million. He kept it in my favourite bit about this, a non-bank financial institution. A non-bank financial institution. I think that's his bed. Under his bed, he has $50 million in his account. He wants to give me $20 million, and he's only going to take 20%. He's only going to take 20%. Very nice. This guy here wants me to invest in Ukraine. That's a nice, safe, impressive environment at the moment where you actually want to invest. I got one after this, want to invest in Syria. A whole area of kind of like destabilized countries I can invest in if I really want to. This guy here spent the first half of his email wishing me a happy Chinese year, a happy Christmas, how is my family, how was this, how was that, I want to do the weekend. It's like, oh my God, you lost me completely there. And then he thinks he's changed his name, because his name is now Inflector Window Insurance. Now, if he's doing see-through metal, why is his name Inflector Window Insurance? Inflector. It's like, surely that's a contradiction. Thanks. My favourite one, and I do love this one. This guy was selling gold dust. Gold dust! But my favourite line about this is the fact that he's in league with lots of local miners, so it's the League of Shadows. They're going to league together, they're going to come and get you. And it's like, he's not a gold seller. Not a gold seller, he's got Tommy Gold, but no gold seller. The miners use him for safekeeping of their gold. He knows that bloke in the Gaddafi's got millions of dollars into his bed. And what I really like about this one, he says, we have ruled out doing this here locally to avoid certain things. That's like the mafia, the police, the FBI, it's like certain things. But I do like the fact he's given me, the gold dust, the Cara, the purity. Fantastic. So I want to buy gold dust. He's the man to go to. So if you want a reference, I'm sure I get commission if I reference you anybody. So basically, you can create a whole new business pipeline by using emails in the right kind of way. So don't just use serendipity. Lots of our clients answer the question, where do you find about new business? And say, oh, well, I got a reference for this person, or this person referenced this, or I got a referral here. There's no proactiveness there at all. LinkedIn allows you to have a proactive pipeline and a serendipitous pipeline as well. So you can have both. That's the best of both worlds, because then you grow your audience. We get lots of referrals because we do a very good job, but I don't rely on that to grow my business. I proactively use LinkedIn to actually find clients across the world, and it does work. So by doing both, you grow faster. So an SME is a great way to actually grow. So in summary, LinkedIn is a gamification platform. The more you do get rewarded. So think about using it every single day, and your rankings will go up, your viewings will go up, your ratings will go up. If you complete these top 10 tips, your personal and your company brand will soar on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Any questions? Go on. Yes. Because, what have I got to fear? No, but they can find all the clients anyway. So there's a misconception that we can't find the clients. I had a client the other day who says, I haven't connected to any of my employees. It's like, because I don't want anyone to nick them. So do you realise just putting in your company name, I can get all your employees? I didn't thought about that. So not connecting with them doesn't actually help you. Because they want to find your clients, they'll find your clients. So, believe me, if somebody wants to go to 22,500 connections to find the odd person they may have in common and make them find them, I wish them the best of luck. I don't even go through my 22,500 connections. So I mean, LinkedIn is a database of people. So if someone's going to find your clients, they're going to find your clients. If they can slice and dice the data, so just finding them or not saying you're connected with them does not actually stop people approaching the clients. The misconception, just like it doesn't stop people approaching your employees, the headhunters. They're on LinkedIn. Unless you find them all been on LinkedIn, which defeats the purpose of LinkedIn, which is LinkedIn's connecting, and you can't stop someone because after all, it's your LinkedIn. It's not your company's LinkedIn, it's your LinkedIn. So unless the company's paying, but the company said to you, which would be a contradiction in terms, you're not allowed to be on LinkedIn if we pay you to do it, doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? So you're better off kind of embracing LinkedIn and saying it's a network for connecting, it's a network for socializing in a business context, and actually trying to put up barriers of not connecting and not sharing and that kind of thing. Anyway, yes? Shoot.
So, some of the theory of Vincent suggests that you shouldn't add everything from the CV into the experience portion.
Yep.
So, what do you think about it?
Not only should you add virtually everything in your CV, you should also add other things. So LinkedIn allows you to put in, for example, associations. So I happen to be a co-chair of the SME committee of the American Chamber of Commerce, but I'm also a co-chair of the ICT committee of the British Chamber of Commerce. So I put both of those in my experience. So it means that everyone who's a part of the American Chamber of Commerce can then find me. They can see I'm employed or I'm part of the AmCham. It also means every single person part of the British Cham can also find me. It also makes sure that people can see about my personal brand and investing community of Singapore, the business community. So it's actually worthwhile putting lots of associations in, and lots of like achievements, awards, and that kind of thing within that to actually build your personal brand. But if your CV you have lots of interesting things about the career you have, why not put it on LinkedIn? If you don't put it in, then you can't be found by LinkedIn or by Google using the search engine.
So you're saying that we should contextualize your profile.
And also, you think about it as a personal brand. Again, it's a once upon a time story. Put all your previous jobs in there, because then it allows you to connect with the previous employees and they to find you. You're using your network more importantly by doing that. If you're an alumni of NUS or SMU, for example, put that in there. I mentor SMU graduates, for example, final year students, marketing graduates, so I put that in my LinkedIn. So that anyone from the SMU can actually find me, because they may not know I do this. Even though NTUC have this relationship with SMU. So if they want to reach out to me, and people do, to mentor them, they can find me on LinkedIn. If I didn't put it there, they can find me.
I have another question.
Shoot.
So if you have to join a good position, should you put it out there, and how much information should you put?
Definitely. Why would you not put it?
So, okay. So
You shine back.
how much information should you put out there? I mean,
You should put
just join.
everything about your company and your product, your new company you joined. Especially if you work at Singapore Tourism Board. Just give it the evil eye over there. I was 10 to stone now. It's like, that's their fault. So yes, no, definitely. Talk about the company you work for. You're proud of joining that company. Talk about that company. Talk about the role you're doing there. Not least so that you can actually communicate with your employees, your fellow employees. If you work for a large organisation like DBS or SPH or MediaCorp, they employ thousands and thousands of people in Singapore. The only way they actually find out what you all do is if you're on LinkedIn and you can actually work together. I mean, Singtel's a classic one. Singtel don't talk to each other, even in Singtel. So being on LinkedIn, you can actually talk to other people in Singtel and actually work closely together as a result of it, work more as a team. And also share engaging content. Also means that if you basically connect with Singtel, and if Singtel had a good company page, which they don't, but I ran out Singaporean examples like it was using this presentation. But if they did have a company page, then you could actually share the content, and then you're basically sharing the Singtel content, or the BDS content, or the OCBC content, or the MediaCorp content, for example. So it's a great way of sharing content, showing how good you are and how you're amplifying the content and people can advocate of the company on LinkedIn. Also helps other people and your peers know about what you're doing and congratulate you and then potentially work with you as well. And they may want to pitch them, do a partnership with them. There's lots of opportunities. We don't fit in there. Like, if your company you have on the side, for example, goes against your LinkedIn. I'll tell you a great story, kind of like a client in Australia who was a Hollywood producer at night and worked for ANZ during the day, and he had 2 profiles. So he did not want his bank to find out he was a Hollywood producer, and he actually was a Hollywood producer, and that was his ambition, to move to Hollywood and become a billionaire. I have no idea whether he actually achieved it or not, because he left at that stage. But he basically created 2 profiles, because he had no other way of actually doing it. But people in Hollywood, he was a Hollywood producer, never even worked in a bank in Australia, he lived in Hollywood. And to people in Australia, he worked in this bank, whatever he was doing in the bank. So you can do that. The best way of doing it is obviously to try and do both. So I do know people who basically work for something like DBS, but then run a company on the side, you just get clearance from something like DBS to say, yes, you can actually do this. Some companies will allow it, some companies won't allow it. Depends on your contract, depends on how good you are at negotiating. But obviously, if you don't put it on there, people can't find you for your company, and won't actually be able to help them build your small company up to be a bigger company. So it's worth going for it, putting that on there, but there are obviously risks if it conflicts with your contract, so you have to think carefully about that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Obviously, mainly the DLCs, you have to think that through. So having a tight social media policy is the best way of actually doing that. But also embracing the staff and actually training the staff and not just forcing the policy on them is actually a good way of doing it. But normally people are quite responsible. One thing about Facebook and Facebook, the difference between Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn is that you can be anonymous trolls on Facebook and Twitter, where you can't be anonymous on LinkedIn. Because every single thing you do on LinkedIn has your profile attached to it. Which is why you don't get very much abuse, but no abuse on LinkedIn. People disagree with you, they disagree with you in a professional way. But they don't do the same thing on Facebook and Twitter, because they're anonymous. So they can abuse you in different ways. Whereas on LinkedIn, it's much more positive. Dialogue is more positive. So people do take things much more seriously. So you tend to get people, there's less people being fired posting erroneous stuff on LinkedIn that have been fired for posting stuff on Facebook, for example. Because that happens quite a lot, particularly in America, because their social guidelines are very, very strict. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, you should never delete negative comments, because that was just, because they had not posted anything else for a month, which means that post did not go down the feeds, which meant it stayed there for an entire month. It's like negative publicity for a month. That's just suicidal. I haven't actually thought about it. Presumably, no one at Singapore Airlines had a media team, a social media team, that actually went from Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, probably just focused on Facebook, which is ridiculous when they think about all their money is being made by people on LinkedIn. So you need to have a social media team monitoring, or an agency, or whatever it happens to be. We don't monitor company pages like that, or group pages, but there are plenty of agencies who do that. But you need to be able to answer. And more these days, Facebook is being outsourced to social agencies, or have a team inside who will answer their queries. LinkedIn's the same. More dangerous on LinkedIn, because that kind of comment stays there for a month, can influence people, and then they're put off by the Singapore Airlines brand, for example, as a result of it. So you really do need to think about any social media needs to be monitored, otherwise do not be on that social media. It's better than not to be on there than to have that kind of negative statement on there for the entire month. Yes, Joe. Of course, you don't need an agency like me. I mean, there are lots of agencies out there who do this kind of thing. Social media agencies, listening agencies, agencies do Facebook, do Twitter. We just specialize in LinkedIn, and we tend to only focus on C-suite as well. So all our clients tend to be CEOs or CMOs or regional MDs or entrepreneurs, because that way their personal branding is their company branding, is their content marketing, is their business. They're all things wrapped up together. But also the global CMO, they're representing the whole company globally, so they need to have a very good profile. And a lot of these guys and girls do not have time to do it. So they realise they have to do it, because they're leading talents. They've only got 50,000 employees or 100,000 employees. If they're not doing it, they're sending out all the wrong messages. So it doesn't help in terms of talent, but also in terms of bringing clients, full leadership. More and more CEOs are now blogging on LinkedIn, because they realise they want to influence people. You know, they've got the Prime Minister of India, they've got the Prime Minister of England, they've got the Prime Minister of America, all today, because it's breaking news. Particularly in the business world, if you look at things like the Financial Times and the Economist, they post on a regular basis because they realise it's breaking news. You go to a newspaper, you read several stories at one time. It's the same thing with LinkedIn. You don't just want to read one story, you want to read several. And if you're not doing it, your competitors are doing it. It's relevant, engaging content, put it up there. So the best companies are posting several times a day. So you're also hitting lots of different people. Don't forget, LinkedIn's a global platform. 364 million people are looking at your profile in the middle of the night. You know, when we're all asleep, America and UK are waking up, they're looking at your profile, whether you like it or not. So the company pays the same thing. So think about how you schedule your content. If you're a global organization, you need to think about if you share at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're hitting the American market. If you're sharing at 5 o'clock in the morning, you hit the New Zealand market. If you share at 9 o'clock, you hit the Singapore market, the Asian market. So you need to think about your content strategy in terms of when you actually share. And you can use sharing and planning tools like Hootsuite, for example, to actually plan for the entire week or plan in the middle of the night. You don't have to do it yourself. But you should definitely be posting more than once and make it compelling, engaging content. And not just all about your company as well, because sometimes people get a bit annoyed if it's just all about your company. Think about, sharing content about Singapore, sharing content about Asia, sharing content about innovation or about leadership or about marketing or about what industry you're actually in, and not just about what your actual company does. But yes, definitely more than once a week. Another question about it. Yes?
Those examples of those company profile that showcase are all MNCs, global company, and locally like Singapore Straits Times and all that, they are not doing a fantastic job even for local organization. So if you're talking about SME, which I'm working for SME, so what do you think, how should the SME actually go into LinkedIn? Because it sounds very...
You are getting the same platform as your SME, as my SME, as my client's SME. Because that company page with that image with 2,000 characters and 10 showcase pages and share the same content. So you can compete on a global basis, a regional basis, a local basis by actually using the same format. So if you're ahead of the game, you've got one active page, you can beat people like Straits Times, SPH, MediaCorp, and Singtel, and M1, who all have terrible pages, and actually put yourself out there, use your own content, it's all free.
Well, you see, SPH, they're a big company, and then yet
and they use this kind of thing.
They have all this feed that is actually irrelevant because already the staffing problem. So for similarly for SME, you do not have people be focused on certain tasks, like sales or one sales and meetings. So for this intensive kind of marketing,
it doesn't have to be that intensive. If you share, you don't have to be intensive. If you share twice a day or twice a week, but it doesn't take much effort. It really does not take much effort. I'm serious. If you use this and you basically LinkedIn app, you find a nice article, you share on the company page on there, done like that. So rather than do Facebook all the time, because Singaporeans are obsessed by Facebook, use the LinkedIn. Because your companies are all on LinkedIn. Don't be using Facebook. Take 5 minutes away from your Facebook updates and go on LinkedIn instead. When you're in that restaurant and you're surrounded by the people and you're checking out your Facebook, just do LinkedIn instead. 5 minutes there on LinkedIn will have more impact.
blogging, content generation.
Yeah, that takes time. Then you're rewarded for it. You win clients a little bit, you influence people, you thought leader. So if you don't want to put the effort in, then you might as well give up doing business. Because that's what business is all about. Basically allocating your time so you can achieve your goals. If you don't want 364 million people and 2 million people in Singapore to be influenced by you, then you should be on LinkedIn, you should be in business. Go work with an NGO. Go work for Singapore Tourism Board.
So before you sign up for sales navigation, you should just set up a company profile.
Don't use Sales Navigator unless you have a good personal brand.
Is the competitors industry?
I mean, you picked 3 of the worst performing regions for LinkedIn. Thanks so much for that. Korea and Japan have Japan has 1.5 million people on LinkedIn. Korea has 1 million. China at least does have 10 million. 1.5.
That's a tiny percentage.
So then I haven't answered the question yet. So China's the same thing. China's 10 million. But interestingly, we just picked up some clients, for example, in Shanghai, because they don't just want to target people in China and target people internationally. And you think about Alibaba, for example, they put on the stock exchange for a reason in New York, not in China, or Hong Kong, or Singapore, because they realized they're targeting international people. So you'll be international and you're a Chinese business, which will be on LinkedIn. There are lots and lots of small networks in Japan and Korea and places like Germany and France and access potentially hundreds of millions of middle-class professionals in China, or do you want to not do that? And from their perspective, they need to be in China with Chinese professionals because they're not like Google or Facebook and they can afford to let China go. They actually need to be there to actually engage. And we're finding that more and more clients want to engage there. Also for talent. So we work for a big advertising agency in Shanghai, and the CEO uses it to attract talent because in China, like Singapore, advertising and marketing isn't a particularly sexy profession. If you go home to your mum and dad and say you work for Ogilvy, who the hell are Ogilvy? You'd rather say you work for TBS or STV. There's a kudos. There's a kudos to working for that advertising agency. So what this agency does in China is use their CEO and the blogs of the CEO to content engagement for young professionals in Shanghai, so they can compete with the banks and financial services and other advertising agencies that work for their agency. They're targeting more internationally focused Chinese professionals, for example, to actually engage with them and try and get them to be employees of that particular company. But it's no one's actually saying, no one at LinkedIn is saying that they're dominating the market in China. It's 10 million out of 1.4 billion. It's clearly a drop in the ocean. But they're getting there. And if you're targeting expats in China and Korea and China, and Japan, and it does work. We had a client, for example, that only targeted expats in Tokyo, worked fantastically. He got lots of connections, lots of sales, but he was targeting expats. Same thing about the UAE, for example. You target people in Dubai, who are expats, but we're on LinkedIn. None of the locals. So it's about whether you want. Yeah. Yeah.
So I might not be able to find, I think I might be able to find who I'm looking for.
But it depends who you're targeting, because if they tend to be senior professionals, you can find a lot of them on LinkedIn. And it depends on the country. If it's in Singapore, you can certainly find it. If this is like Hong Kong, you can. If it's in ANZ, you certainly can. North Asia is the more difficult market. Much more difficult market because there are not enough people on LinkedIn there. But it's growing, the fastest growing region in the world.
Yeah, just something I want, right? So obviously, I think in these markets, we're seeing some challenges. But for us, it's a top-down approach. So we are approaching the C-suite level decision makers. So I think, Chris, you'll be getting a lot of business in time to come from Korea, Japan, and China. So we are targeting all the C-suite level, getting them active on LinkedIn, and then getting them to spread LinkedIn across the entire country. So
I'm assuming you're looking at partnerships like the one we WeChat in China.
Yeah.
Can we get last question?
Sales Navigator is a whole different presentation. I mean, Sales Navigator, talking about Sales Navigator after, but Sales Navigator is very, very complex to go through, and there's lots of different aspects to it. Basically, I can take you through a whole presentation about Sales Navigator. Yes, oh yeah, exactly. I use Sales Navigator for B2B all the time. That's what I'm saying. 6 years in B2B. Yeah, they're very good at selling it. They don't actually use it. I use it.
Well, we're very good at marketing it. That's why you're here.
Precisely. Last question over here, yes.
So as a small business owner,
Yeah.
please differentiate the strategy with your connections between your personal profile and your corporate profile.
Well, it's all about your personal profile. That's where you develop your personal brand on LinkedIn. So you basically amplify your content on your company page through your personal profile. So it's all about, that's why LinkedIn company pages are notoriously hard to actually generate followers. Even LinkedIn themselves have like 1.5 million people on their company page. It's like out of 364 million people, that's a drop in the ocean. HP, I believe, have the #1 in the world, have like 2.5 million. Maybe if I'm wrong, yeah. I think it's 2.5 million.
You know the numbers better.
I think it's about 2.5 million. There are only 20 companies in the world with more than 1 million followers on LinkedIn. Hayes went through that mark just today, for example, or last week, I think it was. 20 companies. That's very, very small. But it's much easier to get people to follow you because it's about relationships, it's about peer-to-peer. So you should use your own personal feed to amplify your company content and to amplify the blogs. That's why your blogs on your personal profile, your blogs are not on your, it's not on your company page. It's all about you. It's about you being, personalizing it from a personal brand point of view, amplifying your company and amplifying your company content.
Yeah, time is running short. Okay, Chris, thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause for Chris?
Yeah, man, we'll be in touch.